Hi, folks. Joining you today, Dave from the MSPAA and Timus Networks, and we're talking about how to modernize your network security and what tools you can use. And for that discussion, we are joined today by the CEO of Timus Networks, Pinar Örmeci, and I apologize if I get your name wrong. Let's just say Pinar. Pinar, welcome.
Thanks so much, Dave. It's Pinar Örmeci. I know it's an interesting name. I'm Turkish American.
Okay, Turkish American. Tell us a little bit about that before we get into the company.
Sure. So I was born in Istanbul a long time ago. And I actually came to the US for grad school in electrical engineering. I went to UMass Amherst and I started my career as a systems engineer in Qualcomm, and then slowly moved on the ranks on the business side. And so I've been in the US for a very long time with 3 years stint in London. I lived in a lot of cities, starting with Boston, San Diego, New York, London, back to New York, and now I'm in sunny Miami, which I love.
I have to ask, and we'll get more into this very soon, but you are the CEO of Timus Networks, and we're going to get into Timus at the moment in a few minutes here. But how did all that happen? You're like a world traveler, and you now the owner of Timus Networks. How did that happen?
Yeah, so it's interesting, it's I think like once if you're open to opportunities and if you put yourself out there, and of course, if you are good at what you do, and networking is obviously very important. So I'm not the founder of Timus Networks. I was brought in as a CEO early last year, but before that, I was part of both very large companies and a couple of high growth startups. In my last startup, Lookout, I was running the global partner business, and we exited that to F-Secure. And yeah, I guess things have a way of working out themselves, because I actually enjoy being in the driver's seat as the CEO.
Right. Well, let's jump into it. I'm really excited for this. There's so much I want to ask you, and there's so much about the product and the company that I'm trying to understand. Give us a little bit of a background about the company and what the company does.
Sure. So we are a cybersecurity vendor in the channel ecosystem. We do not sell direct. We only go through our MSP and MSSP partners. Our goal is to simplify network security for small, medium businesses and mid-market enterprises, and ultimately really protect companies from data breaches and ransomware wherever their employees are working from. So if you look into the small medium businesses today, I mean, they are having exactly the same problems as the enterprises when it comes to data breaches, because data is data. Nowadays hackers have I'm going to throw a fishnet and I'll catch whoever I can, right? So they're not really just targeting enterprises or others. And unfortunately, this doesn't make the news because it's smaller businesses, but hundreds of SMBs go bankrupt in the aftermath of data breaches. So it's a very serious problem. So they have exactly the same need as the enterprises. But as you know, in the US, like 80-90% of these SMBs go to their trusted advisors that are the MSPs and MSSPs to ask for a solution. Hey, how can I make sure my employees are safe when they're connecting to all the company resources, when they're traveling, their conferences, they're on vacation? And when they're in the network, they're actually getting protected from all the phishing and so on. And there are solutions that exist, but now I think the biggest problem in the security domain is everything became way too complex, Dave. Like we have way too many IT tools and security tools. Of course, all the configurations and the compatibility challenges that come with that. Obviously, now we have post-pandemic a massive hybrid work environment, and at a minimum, even in the companies where people go to the office, you're still taking that laptop back home. You're working during the weekend. You're going to conferences. You're in airport lounges. So there are a lot of places you can access your network, and actually in a global scale now. And obviously you have all kinds of endpoints. You have your mobile devices, bring your own devices, and a lot of places where these people can also access in the network, be it on-premise servers, cloud apps, their business SaaS apps, and so on. So it became way too complex. Our goal with Timus SASE is really to reduce these complexities and provide small medium businesses a simplified cloud-based network security solution that really does ultimately two things for the MSP clients, right? For the business owners, it really mitigates the business risk associated with data breaches and ransomware, because we really minimize the attack surface that's available to hackers to attack. And then and that brings a massive peace of mind, because reduce business risk and increase compliance to both regulations but also to cyber insurance T's and C's. And for the employees, these poor employees, including myself, including you, like, we cannot be thinking about security 24/7 because we have our day jobs, right? Yes, security is really important, but if you leave it to the employee to do the right thing 24/7, they will fail. So you need to automate and make sure that they can focus on what their job is, and they can focus on being productive wherever they are, and without having to think, oh my god, like, should I be reading my email? Is it secure? Is this Wi-Fi good or not? So what we do is, in a nutshell, so I talked about the reasons for it, but what we do is we provide a seamless, always on connectivity from wherever, on whatever device, at any time. So let's say, for example, I was in Singapore 3 weeks ago. I was in an airport lounge, and of course, I'm always working. Doesn't matter if I'm on vacation or not. I opened my laptop in the airport lounge, and just like an antivirus, like a solutions like ours, the Timus SASE, we have a lightweight OS agnostic agent that sits on all the employee devices, mobile or laptop, and then it's seamless. It runs in the background. So as soon as I open my laptop, there's an encrypted tunnel to the
My network, right?
yeah, to the
Yeah.
fastest cloud gateway. So we have global points of presence. So in Singapore, I don't know where the gateway would be, but I have an encrypted tunnel, completely seamless to me, to the nearest cloud gateway that actually talks with the network resources, and so on. So I don't have to think of hey, should I turn on my VPN? And you know how VPNs are clunky.
Sure.
That's really the way it works. And by the way, so when I go to the encrypted tunnel and the cloud gateway, we have unlimited IPsec tunnels, like further encrypted tunnels that then connect to all the company resources, be it SaaS apps, on-prem resources, or other cloud servers.
So, so the whole topic of this interview here is we're talking modernizing network security. Okay, and you said a lot of things there which I want to touch on in a few minutes. Now, I love the idea about traveling, and because we all travel, like you, I travel as well, right? And we go to these airport hotels and lounges and you name it, and we have to do exactly what you just mentioned. But people love stories, and people love to hear why. So I know, you talked about ransomware as well a few minutes ago. I read an article this morning actually about a vodka company. I'm not going to say who, but a vodka company that has actually filed bankruptcy because they got hit with a not a phishing scam, a ransomware attack, and they are unable to do anything. So there's a whole lot of questions that come into that. But in your world and what you guys do, can you give us a story that actually resonates with people who are listening to this, of how your network has actually helped them?
Sure. I'll tell you a specific example of one of our MSP partners, and they helped a cosmetic surgery office. So the cosmetic surgery office, they got hacked. They got data breached, and not only there was a ransomware against this cosmetic surgery place, then these people started calling the patients and blackmailing them personally, because they can actually publish the images, right?
Wow. Okay.
And on top, like, so yeah, so this is like a very actual example, real example, like some of the things that might happen. The other thing is, now there are law firms that specialize in class action lawsuits for breached healthcare companies, that they call all the persons that go to these hospitals or healthcare facilities and
Sure.
say that, hey, we are going to do a class action lawsuit to this business on your behalf, do you want to join? So this is literally their bread and butter. They look for hacked healthcare companies and then do like class action lawsuits against them. So it's becoming a really scary world. And of course, we don't want to do like this fear, uncertainty, and doubt. But is it really fun if it's real? Because the security vendors, like, we are constantly innovating, constantly iterating. Having said that, like, I am like, as a Timus user myself, of course, in our company we definitely use our solution. It is such a big peace of mind when it comes to business risk mitigation, to be honest, ultimately. And the fact that with compliance, let me just talk a bit about compliance. This is
Oh,
another
yeah,
really
sure.
um, one of the problems with VPNs. So our basic use case, at a minimum, is replacing all the VPNs out there. The VPNs are usually not always on, and a lot of the employees will forego using it because they are clunky, they mess up your internet connection, and so on. So as soon as you are giving the employees the choice to use it or not, what happens is they don't use it, right, most of the time. And there are a lot of compliance T's and C's that actually mandate that, hey, I want to make sure that your employees, if they are working with me, or if they are getting this contract or that contract, they actually use an encrypted means of accessing the company resources. So this is a compliance risk. The other problem with this, if the access is not always on, the network security has blind spots, because you have no clue what this person is doing while they are in the network, because they just accessed it without the VPN. They might be getting attacked. So having a solution like ours, where everything is documented, we have very deep visibility into the network through this gateway, because it's always on. Like, everybody goes through a single point of entry, is always on. At any given point in time, Dave, we know exactly what everybody is doing in terms of the network and usage. And that really helps with insights into, of course, productivity, but also from a compliance perspective, it really makes a big difference.
So I understand what you're saying, but one thing I wanted to go back to is on your website, there's something that I noticed, and I wanted you to explain it a little bit more. But part of your entire solution, you have something called a productivity tracker.
Correct.
Now, for companies who are deploying a solution like this, or even your solution, a lot of companies are also wanting to find out how active their staff is, because, like you said, a lot of it is remote.
Correct.
Um, Tell us a bit about that productivity tracker.
Yeah, so that's actually, obviously we're a security vendor, but because we have deep visibility into the network through our adaptive cloud firewall and the dedicated gateway that it sits on, we literally have visibility into whatever users are doing at any given time. Like, literally, we can see what app was used by what user or by what team over a duration of time. So the productivity tracker tool that we have can give productivity metrics to the companies at the user level and at the team level, really allowing to make staff decisions or resource allocation decisions based on the productivity of the teams. And we use AI to auto segment what the definition of productivity is for each team. But basically, yeah, we can see everything. We can see like how much time was spent on what URL, what tab of the Excel sheet. And of course, you can turn it off too, right? Like, from a privacy perspective.
Sure, right?
But
You mentioned AI there, and AI. We can talk for the next 5 hours, right?
yeah,
We don't have time for that. But um, tell us very, very briefly how you guys use AI, because all MSPs and a lot of companies are asking, how can we use AI to better our environment and better our processes? How do you guys implement that?
yeah. I think the immediate use cases of AI, obviously, right now in customer support, being able to be much more granular and how fast you can be when you're helping the customers, or in our case, our MSPs. The AI is very useful, and then of course, moving forward, even within our solution, from a behavioral analytics and from a predictive threat detection perspective is going to be key, right? Because obviously companies like us sit on incredible amount of data and uh, behavioral data, so we can actually do a lot with that in terms of to predictively detect risks before they even happen. And I feel personally that the AI, the biggest use cases of it will be around this compiling of this massive amount of data and making sense of it much faster, and getting rid of threats before they happen.
Okay, fantastic. I love the AI component. All right, and there is a lot. I was just browsing your website, going through a lot of the other information as well. We could talk here for the next 40 minutes about everything that you guys do. I understand that. We can't go through all that, and I know there's a lot of services, but we're running up on time. We actually a little bit over time here, but before we do go into close, I wanted to ask you. Right now, you have an option to say something to everyone who's going to be watching this. What is one thing that you want people to understand and walk away with from your company and what you guys do?
Yeah. So this is what I would say. Network security is no more optional for SMEs. It is actually essential. And with Timus SASE in the MSP stack, MSPs can do two things for their clients. For the business owners, they can really give them the peace of mind, uh, because their networks are going to be secure and compliant. So the mitigating business risk, bolstering compliance. And for the employees, they can really be productive without having to think of the security all the time. The other thing about us is, guys, like for the MSPs I'm talking here, we have a lot of MSP partners that is actually driving a lot of business growth with SASE. SASE is the now of access and network security. There's a lot of growth happening, a lot of clients that are actually demanding a solution like ours. And I know, just like us, MSPs are also looking for revenue growth and recurring revenues. We see a lot of our partners having a lot of success with SASE, and really giving the clients and their owners the peace of mind when it comes to, hey, we need to make sure your business risk is as low as it can be.
You mentioned sexy then, and I really want to ask a question, but we just don't have enough time. But folks, for anyone who's watching now in the future, so next month in January, we are going to be actually doing a webinar, and Pinar and the team are actually going to be demoing the entire platform for you. So we'll have that up on the LinkedIn page. It'll be there. Keep an eye out for that. So if you're an MSP that is looking for a product like this and you want to get a more in-depth perspective how this actually works and actually see the product in a live demo, this is your time to jump on that webinar. Again, the webinar will be on our LinkedIn page. But Pinar, thank you so much for the time. Thank you so much for the explanation of what you guys do, and for how companies can take security to the next level. It's a really good product, and I'm really excited to see the webinar how we can actually do this.
Thanks so much, Dave. And of course, like as a MSP solution, we are very easy to deploy. Like you can literally deploy it in less than 30 minutes. And don't wait for that demo. You can always go to timusnetworks.com, ask for a demo from us. Thank you so much. I had a lot of fun.
Thanks. I think you jumped to it before I got to, but yes, Pinar's correct. Go look at their website, go see what they do, go do a demo if you want to do it. One question before we do close, Pinar, do you offer trial packages to MSPs?
100%. Of course, as a customer end user affecting solution, we would love our MSPs to do a trial with us internally before they deploy it. So we do have NFRs for that.
Great. So again, everyone, folks, go look at the website, go have a look and see if it's something you can use. Pinar, thanks for this time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Dave.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you.